Everybody needs to have something going on for
Right.
themselves, because that can be something that can create the next Amazon, next Apple. So all of us have potential. And two, it's like, if you can get a job at a 9 to 5, you can create your own, because apparently they saw something in you.
Right.
So all of us have that potential. It's just we have to, especially in our communities, we have to think about ownership. Powernomics is
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate you coming onto the platform. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really excited.
Yes.
Okay.
Likewise.
Up there.
Likewise.
What's going on? How
Nothing
are you?
much. I'm good. I'm good. I know that today's conversation is much needed. It's going to be great. So we can get started and get it going.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Starting off, how did you get started as a business coach, teaching people about credit, branding, all of that stuff? How did that journey start for you?
Honestly, it kind of just came about because of the fact that in 2019, I got laid off from my job. And at that time, I was like a director of sales. So, I was already in the habit of leading people and just helping my agents like make more sales,
Right.
And things like that. So after I got laid off, I was literally just stuck, right? I kept applying to so many jobs, and for some reason, I wasn't getting picked up, like
Yes.
at all. It was crazy. I had, recommendation letters, everything, but it wasn't happening. So that let me know that, what, probably God was pointing me in a different direction. That meant to me that I needed to go create my own job, so to speak, right? And find a way to reach people in a different way than being an employee. So that's really how it started. And I didn't really hop on Instagram and create this platform until about July of this year.
Wow.
Partly,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It hasn't been that long. So this has been very new to me. I think I hesitated for a long time because, it's a little bit scary. I was like, I'm not going to get any followers and all that stuff, but it's been going well. So that's pretty much how my journey started, and I'm excited to keep it going.
That's amazing. And in your story, what I think is so important and inspirational is that you decided to create your own. So right now, during this time of COVID, there's so many people that's being laid off. How important is it for people who are creative and people who have great ideas to start creating their own businesses?
Oh my gosh, it's so important. Like, I feel as though this year and 2020 particularly came to really smack us and remind us that we have to bet on ourselves, because these jobs, as great as the jobs can be, like, I loved my job. It was a great job, but they're not always guaranteed. We have to put our destiny in our own hands. And it doesn't mean you can't have a job. Sure, you can totally work, but you have to also be doing something else. And this is the thing too, you'll only be able to tap into your greatness and the skills that you're naturally born with by creating something on your own, right? You cannot always tell your story and share what, is natural to you through a job. You have to share it in another platform. And everyone is good at something. When I'm doing my coaching or talking to people, a lot of them always feel like they don't know what course to create, or they wouldn't know, how to get started. But it's really just a matter of thinking about, what do you naturally like? What is easy for you to talk about? And then what do people often come to you for advice for? And that is what you should create some type of ebook or product or YouTube channel or anything about.
Yeah, I love that. And two, I think that from your background, probably in sales, that you could probably bring those talents towards entrepreneurship. So how did that work for you, of using those talents that you learned at a job to now use it for your own job?
So definitely selling for other people is a lot different than selling yourself.
Okay.
I think that that's probably been the biggest shift or adjustment, is getting comfortable putting yourself on, like getting comfortable saying, you know, this is me. This is why you should work with me. This is why you should buy my course. This is why you should pay for a one-on-one session. You know, it's a little bit scary because when you're selling for a company, you can hide behind the product, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you are selling, you are the product. So that is definitely a shift, but I would say it all comes back to what is the value that you're giving to someone? You know, what's the story or the solution that you're selling? Because even when you're doing sales over the phone or whatever kind of sales, you're not necessarily selling the product, but you're selling the value. You're selling the solution. You know, you're selling someone on what they will receive by giving the money for this product. And so when you are marketing yourself, it's about, okay, by you paying me for this course or for this session or whatever it is, this is what you're going to gain from it. And I'm going to help you get from point A to point B. And then you have to deliver. You know, you have to deliver, right? You can't get people's money and then your product is trash. That's not going to work.
That's true. That's true. That's so true. And how do you stay confident as well? Because I know with some people, it could be hard, you know, when you're used to working a 9 to 5 and now everything is on you, all the pressure, everything. And like what you said, the products have to be good too. So how do you stay confident all the time?
So, you know, it's like, it's not easy, right? I would be lying if I came and just said, you know, every day is great. Every day I'm like on 10. That would be a complete lie because there are certainly times where I don't want to show up. You know, there are days upon days, like at the very beginning where I made no sales, like crickets, nothing, you know. And those days can be really challenging, but I find the process that works for me is to just go back and study more. So what I'll do is read, right, or consume more content or listen to YouTube videos or listen to podcasts. I'll go back and look at, on Instagram, for example, other pages in my niche or just other successful pages in general, and I'll study what is it about their content that is resonating with their audience? And then I will go back and look at my content and see, okay, what can I do to get that same kind of result, right? And then I also will just edit my own stuff, right? So even if no one has bought my course that day, it's still an opportunity for me to go back and make it better. And I often will just be grateful for the few small interactions I had. So at the beginning, you're not going to get sales, right? You're not going to just get $500 or $10,000 in one day, but you might get a DM, you might get a new comment, you know, you might get a new follower. And so the best way to stay confident is to cherish those small little wins, you know, because it takes a few of those consistently to then getting 10 followers in a day, then 100 followers in a day, right? But you can't get there if you don't first pay attention to and study what worked to get the first follower.
Wow. Yes, that's great. And speaking on content, how important is it for entrepreneurs and creatives to have good content? Because I know some people think to be, you know, consistent out to post things. And speaking of trash, sometimes it can be bad. So like, how do we make sure that, yes, that we're posting content, but that it's good quality content?
Yeah. So I get this question a lot because content, you know, I mean, content is marketing, right? Content is advertising. The content that you post on your page directly correlates to what people think about you and your brand. And sometimes that can feel super heavy and like a lot of pressure. But I think that the more clear you are on who you are and what you aim to do with your platform, then the content will flow from there. I think the problem is people are starting backwards. So they're thinking so much about the content and they don't even know what they want to serve, who they want to serve. You know, they don't really know what their aim is with the content. They're just thinking about, let me go and create some content. But that's not going to work. You're going to always be stressed out trying to think of what to say because you don't know why you're saying it. So a part of my process and something I teach in my course is you have to first begin with your why. So, you have to identify the niche that you want to serve. So for me in particular, it's, business and finance. And then you have to understand who within that niche are you talking to.
Right.
So that's your audience. So I'm primarily talking to, young Black women and young Black entrepreneurs. So I'm going to make sure that I speak from that voice and that I want my messaging to land and resonate with people like me, people who are millennials, maybe under the age of 35.
Right.
I'm also a mom, so people who have kids, I want that to be relatable. So now that I know those things, my content can flow from there, right? So I'm going to say, okay, as a young Black millennial aspiring entrepreneur, what are some things I might be thinking about? Or what are some things that I have struggled with? What are some things that I've learned on my journey that I could possibly share with someone else? And then that is where your content will come from. But you can't get to that point if you don't know that first step, which is who, what, and why, right?
Yeah, agreed. And how do we convert our followers to money sometimes? Because I know that some people think if I get 20,000 followers, then I can make $20,000. And sometimes that's not the case. So how do we make sure that we can convert that following and that engagement to our websites, to sales, all of that good stuff?
That's a really great question. So I would say that a big part of converting your, followers into customers, or really just anyone who comes to your page and starts engaging with your content, if you want to get them to buy something, you have to kind of know what they would be willing to pay for. And the way that you do that is by really listening and engaging with that audience. So for example, if you're getting questions, like I think at the beginning when I first started posting about stocks and things like that, I was starting to get a lot of questions about, well, how do I know what kind of stock to pick? How do I know, how to get started, stuff like that. And so that needs to be your indicator of these are the types of things that your audience is looking for, right? And then you have to engage more. First, give more value around that topic. And by your free value, answering a few of their questions and them really appreciating that, asking you more questions, commenting, then you go ahead and introduce your paid value, right? So they're already learning some things from the free stuff that you're sharing on your page. Right. Now you direct them to say, you know what, now that we've talked about this, you need to go ahead and buy my course or buy my ebook or listen to my podcast so you can get to the next level of value that I want to share with you. So it's almost like, you give them a little nibble, or whatever, you give them a little carrot.
Yep.
And then you direct them to go and get the rest of it. So I would say that that's really the best way, because it's going to be really hard for you to make your followers turn into customers if you're not selling them what they want, right? And the only way you'll know what they want is by asking them, by talking to them, responding to DMs, paying attention to comments, using the polls and Instagram stories, and asking them, what questions do you guys have about blank? What can I answer for you about blank? What do you guys think about this kind of topic? People are going to respond to you when you ask for feedback, and then you take that and you run with it.
I love that. And speaking on the courses, I love your page because you have so many courses, like so much value is there, and that's amazing. How should people go about creating ebooks and courses? And two, do you feel like that is a very valuable asset to have when you can sell knowledge through ebooks, through courses, and things in that manner?
Yes, definitely. So I think right now we're in such a digital era. And the new normal, especially now with 2020, everybody's learning online, even our kids, like everyone, this is just what it is. And we've been going in this direction for a few years, but 2020 definitely solidified that e-learning is happening. And in fact, it's $1 billion business, and it's only going to get bigger, right? So there are millionaires being made daily from selling ebooks about I mean, listen,
That's crazy.
anything. Smoothies, how to make
Wow.
smoothies, how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. I mean, just everything. And the reason it's an industry that I think everyone should get into is because there is an audience for every single topic you could think of.
Right.
So a lot of the times when I work with people, they'll feel like they don't think that there's anyone else out there who'll want what they have to talk about. And I always tell them, trust me, there is an audience for what you want to talk about. There are people all over who are interested in, owls, birds,
Yeah.
like ironing clothes a certain way. I mean, you just can't limit yourself. So I would say that when you do want to start creating a course and an ebook, it's important for you to go back to those questions I mentioned earlier. So, what are you naturally good at, right? What is something that you could passionately talk about to someone and really be excited about it? Also, what are some things that you've overcome in your life? So victories tend to be something that are a great topic to make courses or ebooks about. So if you lost 50 pounds, after having a baby, talk about that. You can write a 20-page ebook on how you accomplish that weight loss journey. And as far as like getting into the granular process, I definitely have a hack for you guys. So there's an app called Otter, Otter.
Okay.
And essentially it's a transcription app. So all you have to do is speak into it. So the same way I'm talking to you right now about how to write an ebook, right? So I can open my app and just start talking and explaining everything I'm saying to you now, and it's going to transcribe it.
Crazy.
Then you're going to take that transcription, you're going to upload it to Google Docs or whatever, and you're going to edit it. Put your periods in there, enter some page breaks, talking for an hour, and then entering that into a Google Doc. That's about a 15-page ebook right there. Wow. And then all you've got to do is go ahead and make a little cute cover page on Canva or hire someone to do it. Yeah. And go ahead and publish that thing on Instagram.
Wow. You just gave us a free consultation. That's amazing.
Hey!
That was great.
Fully free, yes. Fully free, guys. Super gem right there.
Wow. And I'm going to use that too, so thank you.
You better.
Yes,
you better.
will.
I want you to make an ebook on making a podcast.
I will.
Just something you're already doing.
I've been thinking about that. Yeah. I will. And how do we market our value too? So if we finish those ebooks through Otter, how do we market it properly that we can have people in that niche who can purchase those books?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think a lot of people often get caught up feeling like this market is saturated or how am I going to stand out? Right. What's going to make someone want to buy my ebook versus someone else's? And I would say that it's really all about positioning. So, I'm not the only business coach like out here, right? I'm not the only finance coach by far. There are so many, but there's not anyone who is me. Right? And there's not anyone who has my experience, my story, my particular way of communicating an idea. So I just want you to focus less on what everyone else is doing and focus on you, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people actually, who will particularly only want to buy from you because they like you. Right. People don't just buy the product. They buy because it seems like the product is valuable, but also I really like this guy's story, or I really like the way that he's sharing with me how he actually produced something. So let's say, for example, you do make this ebook about how to start a podcast, and you're talking to an audience who is like you, young, Black, a guy. I don't know what you've overcome in life, but you bring that into your story. Right. Someone who resonates with you and your identity, they're going to feel like, man, if he can start a podcast and then write a book about it, I can start a podcast and then write a book about it. And then another way to really just insert yourself into that audience is to go ahead and start following and commenting on and engaging with pages who are doing something similar to what you're doing. So if there are other podcasts in your niche or other people who are selling ebooks about how to start podcasts or how to really do anything online, be present there and start commenting, because people are going to see you by association, and maybe those people didn't buy from that page, but they're going to buy from your page.
I love that. And another great thing that you provide is business credit coaching, which is amazing. What's the importance of having credit for your business?
Oh my goodness. So listen, I used to have really trash credit, like really bad, really bad. I mean, repossessions, like you name it, I had it bad. And, you know, I was really getting tired of getting denied for stuff, like for credit cards, for loans. They just kept saying no to me. It was like, okay. So I began thinking about what was another way that I could have access to these opportunities without my personal credit. And I've always had an LLC. So I always knew about the benefit of, you know, having that for taxes and my business and etc. But it really wasn't until maybe last year that I got plugged into business credit. And it happened because of the fact that, I don't know, I think I was trying to get a card and I saw an option there if you own a business. And I was like, what? So that, you know, piqued my interest. Yeah. But, you know, it's important for you to have business credit because, you know, your business is a separate entity from you, and you don't want your business to be held back just because your credit sucks, right? You don't want the possibility for your business to grow just to be limited just because right now you're not able to really get access to the capital. And don't get me wrong, for some business credit opportunities, you will need good credit. So it doesn't mean you should not go build your personal credit. It's very important. But having business credit allows you to win in another way. And a lot of the times you are able to get access to so much more funding under a business because let's face it, this country favors business owners. Taxes favor business owners. Banks favor business owners. It's just a fact. So you have to learn how to play the game to win, right? It's a lot easier to get a loan under your business than it is to get a loan under you as a person. And that's just what it is. So that's why I'm really passionate about, you know, helping people not only start their business, but start it the right way. Because this year in COVID, there was so much money being given away to businesses. Oh my God. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know people who got $700,000 loans.
Wow. Yes. There's so much that you can do with that.
So much. Yeah. So much. They went ahead and bought like 10 duplexes in Cleveland, Ohio.
That's amazing. I know.
Like, what? I mean, and that's nothing to do with luck. It's just that they were ready. They had their pieces in place. So when the SBA opened up that door and those paycheck protection loans start coming out, people were ready, right? And so that's why I don't just only want to teach people how to like start a little side business. No, I want to teach you how to start a business, how to get your business registered, make sure you have your EIN, because when these opportunities come again, we don't want to miss them simply because we didn't have our house in order, you know?
That's deep. And speaking on EINs, seeing that on your page, you talking about that. How do we even set those things up? Because I know that sometimes we as Black people, like we could be scary for things that we aren't like familiar with. We don't know. So how do we get more comfortable with doing things when it comes to our business credit, trade lines, EIN numbers, all of those things?
Definitely. So I would say it's number one, the EINs are free. So don't let anybody tell you.
Yeah, you got to pay for one.
that you have to pay. I
Yeah.
don't listen. We're not going to do that. You know, we're not out here to do that. They are absolutely free. And I explain not only in my course, but on my page, I have a whole post on like literally the first 3 steps to getting your EIN. And then after that, you want to make sure you get your DUNS number. So your DUNS number is for Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet is essentially like the FICO for business scores. So that's where your business credit score is, and you won't be able to build business credit without that number. So that's also free. Yes. So you go to dunandbradstreet.com.
Okay.
And yes, get your DUNS number. So those would be the first 2 steps you need to take. And then after that, there are a lot of other ways to go ahead and start building business credit online. One of them is using this website called NAV. It's NAV.com. I have a post on this on my page too. And when you sign up for a monthly subscription, they report to your business credit. So those are like kind of the 3 foundational ways to get started. But to really expedite that process and start getting like, you know, a 90 on your business score, like really excellent business credit, you got to get my course.
I'm going to pay for that. I was just about to tell you, I'm about to pay for all that stuff because this is amazing. That was great.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, there's a few other ways. There's definitely
Awesome.
a few other ways. You know, but that would definitely be the first 3 steps I would say to get started right now.
That's great. And how do we build that score as well? Because I know with some people, they'll think, I did step 1, so I'm good. So how do we build those credit scores?
Absolutely. So the best way to build it is to keep using it. And also, I forgot, definitely get a business bank account because you're not going to get the opportunities you want if you, yes, I'm going to plug it.
Right. Hey, you got to be your own best fan.
You're not going to get the opportunities that you really want if you don't have a business bank account. You just have to have one. I really recommend getting 2 because then you're building a relationship with 2 different banks, right? And that could be double the money when you get approved. But the best way to not only just start your business credit, but to keep building it is, like I said, keep using it, keep making your payments early and on time. And then, for example, there are a lot of manufacturers or vendors online that'll give you a little bit of credit to go purchase, you know, stuff like printer paper, like really basic stuff, but they give you what's called a net 30, which means you have 30 days to make that payment after you order something. And that is something you should do every month. So like just buy, you know, ink, like whatever you need, maybe spend $40 to $50 every month. Because those report very well. And typically when you are showing at least 3 or 4 months of history with that, then when you're ready to go ahead and get a business credit card or a retail card or a loan, they're already able to see that you have excellent payment history.
That's awesome. And with the credit, again, that's something that I feel like is so big because we are never taught about this in school at all. Like I had no idea about business credit, any of that stuff. A lot of people talk about tax write-offs. So how do we know what to write off and how do we not take advantage of that in a bad way?
Yes, that's a good question because, you know, people can definitely get a little bit too write-off happy and just, you just write off everything and then by the end of the year, you're negative. Like, we don't want that either.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to be strategic, and especially if you have a 9-to-5 right now and then you're starting an LLC on the side, you know, what can be nice is that the expenses you file, it does reduce your tax liability on your regular income tax. So you'll be able to pay a few less taxes, but you just want to be mindful with how much you claim, because remember, when you do go ahead and start applying for some business loans, they might ask you for your tax return. And if you're claiming so many expenses that you are negative at the end of the year, they're going to deny you. Like they're going to say no. So you don't want to have that either. But, keep track of your expenses. Some of the things that I will claim are, anything that I purchase towards my business. So if I spend any money on advertising, I'm claiming it. Anything that I spent money on with regards to like making my posts on Instagram or getting ready for any type of event, gas, like we don't go anywhere anymore because of COVID, but those are things that go towards your business. So when you are, buying something, you kind of want to self-check and ask yourself, okay, is this something that is going to go towards bettering my business or supporting my business? And if the answer to that is yes, you want to keep the receipt for it and later look at filing an expense for it. And I would also say, connected to that, aim to actually make money. Right. So aim to actually make money with your LLC, even if it only starts at $500 a month. That's something. Even if you only sell 10 copies of your ebook a month, that's still something. And that's going to show at the end of the year, if you do file taxes, that there's a balance, right? That there's some money coming in. And yes, there were expenses, but there was still some money coming in. So that's a real key right there.
Great. And speaking on people who have a side business, 9 to 5 at the same time, which can be extremely hard. How do people transition out of working that 9 to 5? Because I know sometimes some people, they can quit too quickly, too fast. So how do you make sure that it's the perfect time for that?
That's a great question. And honestly, I'm a big advocate for, keeping your job until you're fully ready to leave. Like, I don't really agree with some of the, rhetoric around just quit. You don't need that job. F that job. No, don't F that job. No, because that job is paying bills. It's a safety net, right? And I think that when you have the discipline and the consistency to still build a business outside of your 9 to 5 and then start making money, that's an indicator of how you'll be able to still be successful when you leave that job. Because a lot of people, I think, don't realize that you work more hours when you work for yourself than when you work for somebody else.
That's facts. Yeah.
Because when you work for somebody else, your weekends are free. You don't have to do anything. But when you work for yourself, you're on the clock every day. Wow. It might be on your phone, right? It might not be clocking in, but you're still doing something for your business every day. So I think first, establishing that consistency and that discipline. Then once you've started making some money, you kind of are comfortable, you know what you want to do, you're really passionate about it. Then if your job doesn't fit anymore, go. But make sure you've saved up some money, right? Make sure you've checked in with your family. Like, make sure all of your needs and obligations are taken care of so that you can really thrive as an entrepreneur, because it's going to be hard to give your all into the business if your house is not paid, you don't have any gas in your car, the fridge is empty, and your kids are hungry.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So, and the reason I'm also passionate about it is because I recently took a job. So my boss from my old company, he called me and was like, hey, you know what? I need you, right? I really need you to come join me in this company. And I was really hesitant because I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about going back to a job life. I'm figuring out my entrepreneurship thing, like things are going well. But you know what? Sometimes I feel as though when opportunities come like that, it wouldn't be always a smart thing to pass it up. So currently I'm doing the balance of working during the day and then working also on my other business at night, and it's definitely a challenge, but it's making me realize how motivated I am to out earn my 9 to 5 in my business so that, I'm only in this 9 to 5, let's say maybe 6 to 12 months, unless they give me a raise, that's a different story.
Yes, and one of the podcasts that I love is called Earn Your Leisure. It's a great podcast.
It's great.
And one thing that is constantly said is that your 9 to 5 is your first investor. So how do we make sure that we're using the money that we make from work and implementing that into our businesses and not just spending it on cars, clothes, dates, all the crazy stuff?
That is so true, and that's a really great point. You'll want to make sure, I'm really big on budgeting, right? So when you get your check from work, you need to really go in and look at where has your money been going right now, because the money that you're spending towards random stuff, maybe like going out. I mean, we're not going out right now, but just buying stuff, shopping online, getting too much hair weave, like
Too many bundles.
Too many, all of
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
to stop. And you have to then allocate some of that money towards the business, because businesses at the beginning, they're going to cost. You're going to need money to advertise yourself if you want to
Right.
start with that route. You're going to need money if you do decide to make a course or make an ebook. You're going to need money to have someone maybe edit it or have someone go ahead and design something for you. You could need money for a few things, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but I think when you set aside some money from your check and say, this is going towards my business, it's going to make you take it seriously. It's going to make you really feel invested in building that business, because now it costs something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It costs something. I mean, the same way we save our money to get, I don't know, the PlayStation, or we save our money to get the shoes we want or the bag we want. We do it because it has value to us. So if your business has value to you, or the business you want to start, you have to put money towards it. And you have to have the feeling of saying, no, I can't buy those bundles this month because this money is going towards my business or the business I want to start.
Yes, I love that. Right now, I see a lot of people getting the bag when it comes to drop shipping, selling things online, and I see that you're talking about that, coaching that. What are the benefits of doing e-commerce right now?
Yeah, so you know what? Amazon literally, I think doubled its worth this year since COVID, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that no matter what's going on, people are shopping online. That's never going to stop. If anything, it's only going to increase. So you've got to get out in front of those people. And it can be something just as simple as t-shirts, but just go ahead and produce something, because once you start building a page, right, on Instagram or on Twitter, and you kind of start getting some followers, you're engaging with people, you have a little bit of a community, it's a very good opportunity for you to go ahead and just drop a product. Just drop something, even if it, like I said, a t-shirt, a hat, a pen, a little planner, anything that kind of relates to who you are, the people that you talk to, the niche that you're in, you will make sales. And this is the thing, by you not having a product out there, you're cutting yourself off from a potential source of income. And now it's easy to get started on Shopify and literally put out a product with no inventory. So that's the drop shipping route, right? You can kind of go on Alibaba, look at what's popular right now, and then decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just make a quick Shopify store for this. It takes 10 or 15 minutes to set up a page, and then add the product to that page, drop the link in your bio, and start telling people to go check it out. If you have some money saved up, you can go ahead and run some quick ads on it. You will sell some products, you definitely will. And then by you starting that and learning that and getting the feeling for that, then you might say, okay, now I want to make my own, right? So I want to order some, put my logo on it, right? And then sell that. And that's how you start really expanding and building a whole brand, Y'all can do this. Y'all can do this.
Love that. And someone just said, I love you, Ellie. I was just showing my daughter your page earlier today. So how does that feel, knowing that you can inspire other Black women, Black people when it comes to entrepreneurship, branding, all that good stuff?
That is honestly really sweet. And it's easy for me to cry. So that is, That is so kind. And it's really part of why I do this, you know. I was always really nervous and hesitant to just, you know, come on Instagram and start talking about my story and just what I know because, you know, I think we all get intimidated in this social media culture. We
Right.
feel like we see all these pages with hundreds of thousands of followers and you're like, oh my God, like, am I ever going to get to that point? But, you know, one thing I've really learned is the connections that you make with people are so genuine. Even when you're only at 1,000 followers, you know, sometimes you only need to impact one person in order
Right.
to, you know, feel something, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
that one person will be the one who sets your brand off, right?
Right.
Because you impacted them, then they went to tell somebody about it, and then someone else came and found you, and before you know it, you know, like it just
That's
only
right.
takes one person. So I would say, you know, don't anyone who's watching, don't get discouraged by how many people are currently following you. Just simply focus on really impacting and influencing and giving value to the ones who are. Because again, you don't know who's watching, right? That
Yeah.
one person who commented could be the one who connects you with your next big opportunity, right?
That's right.
So just value the ones who are currently paying attention. And trust me, guys, those followers, they'll come. They'll come.
Yes. Yes. That's amazing. And right now, too, with the websites, I think that you preaching about you owning what you own, because right now, like, we don't own Instagram, right? So if Instagram shut down lives or all this stuff, a lot of
Yeah.
people, they will honestly be screwed. So how do we make
Yeah.
sure that we create our own websites and that we draw people to the websites as well?
Yeah, that's a great point. I would definitely recommend you guys at the same time you start building your Instagram brand, you start building your email list at the same time, because your email list and your website are the only things that you own, right? Like you
Wow.
said, if Instagram shuts down tomorrow, you can't access your followers. The only way you can access the people you are engaging with is if they were on your email list, if they had visited your website before. You can also do the texting thing, right? Get them to
Right.
join your text community. You know, just use Instagram as a gateway to get people off of here and onto your other platforms. And that's also how you really make more long-lasting connections. And I'll be honest, that's something I'm really working on right now is, you know, getting more people to my email list. I'm thinking about if I should start a texting thing or if I should make a membership community, you know, just a way that I can really be connected to the people who are engaging with me all the time, right? Not just when I post on Instagram or not just when I'm in the DMs, but how can I really build a community around what I'm starting on here?
Yes, I love that. Right now, too, you've been able to grow your page like exponentially. It's crazy how you said, what, July?
Yeah.
You would not think that. So how should people go about creating their brands, having a look and aesthetic when it comes to their page, their content? What are some simple steps for things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say that, you know, when you first start thinking about the brand that you want to build and who you are and etc., it's important to go back to what we shared earlier, which is your why, right? So why are you doing this anyway?
Yeah.
Who are the people that you want to come into contact with, and what do you want to share with them? So why, what, and who, right? What do you want to share with them? What do you want people to feel or gain when they come to your page? And so for me, when I started asking myself that at the beginning, you know, I just wanted people to come and learn something. I also wanted them to come and feel inspired. I wanted my page to feel, excuse me, like very light, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, that you can just come there and it's an open place for you to ask questions, for you to just know that, you know, I'm a person like you. I'm here for you. I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. You know, I like pink. So pink is all, you know, pink is all throughout my page.
Yeah.
Just something authentic and real. And people will really feel that, you know, people will feel that authenticity. based on how you execute it. And, let's be real as well. Instagram is a visual platform. So a lot of why people will decide to follow you before they necessarily read the content on your page, they're going to look at the whole vibe. Right? They're going to look at, okay, what is it looking like? I like it. It's a visual platform. So I always recommend to the people I work with to, you don't have to necessarily do the checkerboard theme that I do, but just have some sort of pattern or some sort of color scheme or some sort of, keep it all together, right? Because that's going to give people the first impression, and then they're going to click on your content and start reading your captions, and that's usually what influences someone to go ahead and follow.
Yes, that's great information. And due to COVID, as we talked about earlier, a lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of businesses that's been brick and mortar have had to close down. Yeah. How can entrepreneurs adjust and get more active when it comes to online or when it comes to drop shipping, websites, things like that?
So, I really recommend, if this is very new for you, to take a course, honestly, because that's what I did. That's the best way to learn, right? There is free value out there, but at the end of the day, sometimes it takes a long time to turn through all of that free information.
That's true.
And when I first decided to kind of start this page, like I was sharing earlier, I consumed a lot of content from other pages. So I started looking at what they're doing, reading. I took courses on starting a Shopify business, starting a drop shipping business, because if you see someone who's already done it and they're pretty good at it, just skip the line, right? Pay $40. Most of these courses are like $40 or $50.
Yeah.
So you can pay $40 or $50. You can write it off as a business expense. Okay. Right? And go ahead and learn what is necessary to be able to do what they are doing. And then you replicate. So I would say that that's the best way to go ahead and get started if you're completely new to this online world, is to, look around, find someone that you identify with, see other pages who are doing it well, and just check out their resources, because that money will come back to you, and it'll come back to you faster by you starting with the course than you starting with 1,000 hours of YouTube videos,
Yeah, that's
definitely
great. And as a mom, a business coach, when it comes to being an author as well with business courses too, how do you balance all of those things? And two, what are some of the challenges that you face sometimes as well?
Yeah, so balancing is definitely hard, right? Being a mom and wanting to now, with homeschooling, finding time to do these courses, finding time to schedule content. It's a challenge, but for me, I stay up late, which I would not always recommend, but I do try to go to bed at least by like 1 a.m., right? So I stay up late and then I wake up early. But for me, it's also, I really maximize the hours that I'm using. So, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but sometimes we waste an hour on Instagram scrolling.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes we waste an hour on Twitter or on YouTube or on Netflix, and then we have less time, right? So when I am in like work mode, or when I need to go ahead and get a course done, my phone is on do not disturb. I have two phones. So this phone that I'm on right now is like what I text on. I put that phone away. I grab my other phone and I just turn on like Janae Aiko and I get to work. Right? So you can zone out and then say, okay, this next 1 to 2 hours, I am getting this done, whether that's your content, whether that's the first 2 chapters of your ebook, whatever it is you want to work on. I would say just maximize the time that you have instead of necessarily feeling like you don't have enough time, because you do have enough time. It's just how you use that time. And another big thing for me with balancing is I pray a lot. Like, I'm very spiritual. I'm very religious. So I pray a lot. I drink a lot of water. And, I just try to think very positive about life, because, sometimes it gets hard, right? But I firmly believe that we only go through as much as God like wants us to, right? He only will give us what we can bear. And so if you're having a hard time right now, just, push through it, because it's going to prepare you for whatever that next step is in your journey. But you won't be able to see what that next step is if you don't pass this test, right? If you don't get through it, if you don't do what you have to do, even if it means staying up until 2 a.m., you have to do it, because the reward is so much better than the struggle.
That's so deep. And staying on that point, how do we stay motivated during those times? Because I know some people, if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it's like, yo, I'm not doing this no more. So how do we stay motivated? How do we keep going?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you something really quick. Hold on.
Yeah, sure thing.
So I am going to make a post on this soon, but I recommend, so this is called a life affirmation, a life statement. Okay, so I keep this, I just pulled it from next to my bed, but I keep one of these next to my bed and one of these next to my desk. So it's kind of like a mini vision board, right? So a vision board is like where, you have the pictures of everything you want to achieve.
Yep.
And then this, your life statement or your life affirmation, is where you write down very specifically what you want out of life, right? What you see yourself doing, exactly how much you want to earn, either on a yearly or monthly basis, and then by when you want to accomplish this. Wow. So I learned about this from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I've had this now maybe for a year and a half or so after I lost my job. So when I am unmotivated, or when it's 1 a.m. and I'm tired and I want to go to bed, I read my statement. Okay, and I look at my vision board. Yeah, and that's what makes me go maybe another 30 minutes, right? That's what makes me go ahead and complete the task, because everything you're doing right now is to really prepare you for what you actually want in life. You won't have to do this 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. forever. I promise, guys. It's just at the beginning, right? Eventually, you'll pay somebody else to stay up till 1 a.m.
Right.
You'll pay someone else to do that for you. But, at the beginning, it'll come from your effort. And when you do start, making the consistent sales or getting the followers, or you see your work paying off, then that becomes the motivation, because you feel like, you know what, I know it sucks to stay up this late, but last time I did it, I got 10 sales in one day, or I got 10 new followers or 100 new followers. So I'm going to do it. Right? I'm going to do it because I know it's going to turn out to be worth it.
That's great. How important is reading? Because you mentioned reading a book, it inspires you, and now you're starting to do those very practices that was in the book. So how important is it for us to just open up a book sometimes?
It is so important. I'll be honest, like when I had my job, I wasn't really reading like that, I mean, I was making a lot of money. Like I didn't feel like there was anything else that I needed to improve on, because, I was comfortable. I was making 6 figures, living, everything was good. So it was like, but I think once that stops, right? Once the level of comfortability stops and things change, it begins to make you see that there's so much more to life. And that there are so many other levels of success that you can't even comprehend. Like, there are levels to this, right? And being able to achieve those levels, you have to expand your mind to get there. And I now love reading because, the people like Warren Buffett or Tony Robbins or, Napoleon Hill or Robert Kiyosaki, some great books. They've accomplished great things in life, and they've made a lot of money. I mean, they've done things. So why would you not want to get a peek into their mind, right?
Yeah,
why would you not want to know a little bit about that strategy? And that's what reading a book can give you. It gives you the opportunity to see that there's so many other ways in life that you can accomplish what you want than just the path that you've been doing right now. If you're not getting there by what you've been trying, then you have to try something else, right? Because that's insanity to just keep doing the same thing, over and over again. Try something different and you'll see different results.
That's great. Ellie, this whole interview, you've provided us with so many gems. People in the comments, they've said it. I agree. And there's so many things that I'm going to try that you're talking about, preaching about. So before we leave, where do you see yourself, your business within the next 5 years? And also for young entrepreneurs and Black women who's tuning in, what words of advice do you have for them who could be down right now and who's probably discouraged?
Absolutely. So I'll start with that first.
Mm-hmm.
I would just recommend, give yourself the space to feel what you're feeling, right? Give yourself the space to cry, let it out. I mean, I'm sure you read some of my posts. So I got a divorce last year or earlier this year. And for a lot of people, that's a very hard life event to come back from.
Right.
But like I was saying, I believe God only gives us what we can bear. So give yourself the space. Whatever you're going through, feel it. Cry, call your girls, whatever you need to do, but then you have to stop. Right? So after you feel it, after you do all of that, now it's time to wipe those eyes, put on your big girl pants, and get back to work, right? Because you cannot stay in a state of misery forever. You just can't, because your purpose is waiting for you. And other people are waiting for you too, and the longer you're staying in that place, the further you are from reaching the destiny you're supposed to have. Wow. And I would also say that if the reason you're upset or if the reason you are feeling stuck is because of the environment that you're in or the people in your environment, you have to cut them off. You have to change your surroundings. Anything that is toxic is not going to allow you to grow. Flowers don't grow inside of shitty soil. They just don't.
Right. Wow.
So you have to, it's going to be hard, but you have to separate yourself from things that don't fit where you're trying to go. So that would be my biggest piece of advice to, women, really anyone, but I particularly have a heart for young women and moms like me. That would definitely be what I would say. And then in 5 years, wow, where do I want to be in 5 years? I definitely want to be on a yacht somewhere and chilling. Yeah. But I think at that point, I would love to have this coaching and course creation business, on autopilot. I would love to be hosting conferences for, women entrepreneurs and just young Black entrepreneurs in general, a place where they can come and exchange ideas, having mastermind sessions, just great experiences for people like us, people who want to elevate their life. And, I want to be a multi-millionaire in 5 years. Like, that's facts,
I love it.
It's a countdown. I got to get to work.
That's right. That's right. Ellie, thank you so much for your time, all the free information that you gave. For everybody that's tuning in, we just got a free consultation. So we can't say thank you so much. Thank you. And Ellie, before we bounce, where can everybody follow you, support your business, everything?
Thank you. Yes. So you guys know my handle is Ellie Talks Money. It's the same handle on Twitter. It's also my website name. So you guys definitely follow me on those platforms. Go ahead and check out my website and my courses. I'm teaching you how to make money on Instagram with my courses as well as through affiliate marketing. And I'm also teaching you guys how to build business credit. So I want you guys to really win in a lot of ways, right? Start the business, learn how to sell your product on Instagram, and then learn how to go get funding for that business with your business credit, right? So we're going to win all across the board.
I love it. Ellie, I'll be purchasing some courses very soon, so I got you on that. And keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you save this live.
Oh, I will. It was
great. I enjoyed it.
This live, we posted on YouTube probably sometime next week, so I'll make sure to share it to you. We'll have like IGTV clips of it, all that.
Yay.
I got you.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again. I had a great time.
Thank you. Likewise. And you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right.